Some days it feels like the world is falling apart. Bad news piles up, your plans unravel, and it feels like your confidence is taking hit after hit. Doubt creeps in, whispering, "Why is everything going wrong?" But stop for a moment. Have you asked yourself, how am I viewing all this? What shapes your experience isn't your situation, it's your mindset. And the moment you realize that, you begin to take your power back. In this video, you'll dive into a philosophy that's lasted for more than 2,000 years. Stoicism. It won't promise you an easy life or a smooth path, but it gives you the tools to face challenges with courage. It's about emotional control, staying logical in the middle of chaos, and using discipline as a path to freedom. If you've ever felt disconnected from your life, now's the time to reclaim it by mastering the one thing that's truly yours, your mind. Let's begin. Number 1. The mind is a lens, not a mirror. Ever try snapping a picture while wearing tinted sunglasses? The scene's still there, but it looks duller, colder. Take the shades off, and suddenly the colors shine. Nothing around you changed, only your lens did. Life operates the same way. You don't see things as they are. You see them through the filter of your perspective. And the amazing thing, you get to choose that filter. Picture a typical Monday. You oversleep, there's no coffee left, and you hit traffic. One person curses the day, thinking it's already ruined. Another shrugs and says, "Rough start, but I can turn this around." They're not in different worlds. They're seeing the same day through different mental lenses. Could it be that you're, without noticing, using a lens that makes life feel harder than it is? I once witnessed a small, powerful moment. 2 fathers at the park with their kids. One child starts crying. His shoes got muddy. The first dad scolds him, "Didn't I tell you to avoid the puddles?" The kid looked down, ashamed. The second dad laughed, "Muddy shoes mean you played hard. We'll clean them later." Same event. 2 responses. One child learns fear of mistakes. The other learns that messiness is part of joy. Stoicism doesn't tell you to bury your feelings or pretend everything's okay. It teaches you to look at life with clarity. Emotions don't come from what happens. They come from how you think about what happens. And once you internalize that truth, a kind of freedom begins to open up inside you. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts." So, what shade is your mind wearing today? Is it cool and calm, or tense and stormy? I once met a man named James, a rideshare driver who spent most of his days in traffic. He used to get mad at everything: rude riders, red lights, bad weather, anything that messed with his routine. Then one day, someone barely scratched his car at a red light. James jumped out, fuming. But the other driver, an elderly man, calmly said, "You can stay mad if you want, but if anger doesn't solve it, why let it live in your head?" That simple sentence hit James hard. He couldn't shake it. That night it echoed in his thoughts. Maybe it's not the world that's against me. Maybe I've been standing in my own way. From then on, he made one small change. Whenever anger crept in, he'd pause and ask, "How else can I see this?" Just that. A simple question. Over time, he transformed. The roads stayed the same. The problems didn't vanish. But James, he stopped being controlled by every little frustration. Want to try it yourself? Start small. The next time you feel your temper rise, whether from stress, delay, or disappointment, don't react right away. Take 5 seconds. Breathe. Ask, is there another way to view this? Write it down if it helps. It doesn't need to be the perfect answer, just a new one. You're not forcing fake happiness, you're practicing flexibility. And that shift is where clarity begins. Your mind isn't a flawless piece of glass. It's more like a lens, smudged, scratched, covered in dust. But it can be wiped clean. You can shape it again, swap it out for a sharper, stronger one. Always remember, what you see isn't raw reality, it's your interpretation of it. And when you grasp that truth, something deeper becomes clear. Your mind isn't just decoding the world, it's deciding your place in it. So ask yourself, are you letting life happen to you, or are you choosing your response to it? That's the key question, the one that opens the next door. Number 2, your mind chooses, victim or owner. Pain often brings a quiet fork in the road, one you barely notice. It's not about huge dramatic vows like, today I'll change everything. It's shaped by the tiniest choices made again and again. Will you keep replaying that story in your head, or do you lay it to rest? Do you sit around hoping someone else will fix the broken pieces, or do you slowly begin to stitch them back yourself? Stoicism doesn't demand fake bravery. It just places a simple, powerful question in front of you. What's done is done. So now, what will you do about it? The victim says, I had no control. But the proactive person, they hurt too. They cry too. But they see pain like rain. You can't stop it from falling, but you get to decide whether you stand soaked or carry an umbrella. Here's a story that captures that mindset beautifully. Daniel, in his early 30s, had just gone through a breakup. A 5-year relationship ended. No fights, no cheating, just her decision to leave. That first week wrecked him. He kept typing and erasing messages, skipping meals, lying awake night after night. Then, one evening, sitting in his car parked outside, he remembered something Seneca once wrote. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. That line stayed with him. It sparked a hard question. Am I hurt because of what happened, or because I won't let it go? That moment didn't erase the pain, but it gave him direction. Daniel didn't have a magical transformation overnight, but he did wake up with a small shift. He didn't trash the old photos, but he didn't scroll through them obsessively either. He stopped blaming himself for things beyond his grasp and started taking care of the parts he could control: his sleep, his health, his friendships, his routines. Every tiny act, vacuuming the living room, going for a ride, opening a new book, became a quiet way of telling the world, I'm not stuck anymore. So now ask yourself, when something breaks you, do you let it replay endlessly in your thoughts, deepening the damage? Are you waiting for an apology, for closure, for someone to finally get it, when you already have the power to move forward? No one else can make that call for you. And in the moments where you feel like you're falling apart, you might actually be standing on the edge of a strength you've never tapped, the strength to choose your next move. Next time you feel pain, don't rush it. Sit with it. Place your hand over your heart and ask, am I feeding this pain, or am I ready to release it? If you choose healing, start with one firm but small action. Tidy your space, step outside, power off the distractions. Not to escape, but to show yourself that you're ready to lead again. You don't owe anyone proof of your strength. But if this message touches something inside you, drop a comment below. Tell your story. You never know. Someone might need your words to rise again. And if you're serious about building a life rooted in calm, clarity, and courage, subscribe now. Let this space be your daily reminder. Your mind is yours. Number 3, the mind assigns value to everything. On a quiet corner in New York City, two people walk by the same luxury watch boutique. One catches sight of the Rolex on display, eyes filled with desire. One day I'll own that. That's what success looks like. The second glances at it too, then grins. A fancy way to check time? No thanks, my Apple Watch works just fine. Same item, two completely different reactions. So, where does value truly come from? The object, or the way we interpret it? Stoicism offers a clear answer. Value isn't found in things, it's assigned by your mind. Nothing is automatically meaningful, frightening, or desirable. We decide what it is. A post on social media might crush someone with only a few likes, while another shrugs it off. A coworker's cold glance could be seen as they hate me, or maybe they're just having a rough day. Every single day, without realizing, you're tagging everything you experience. These quiet mental labels influence how you feel, act, and live. Why do some people leave six-figure jobs to become yoga instructors, while others chase corporate titles for decades? Because the first values peace over paychecks. The second, recognition matters more. Neither is wrong if it's chosen deliberately. But that's the big question. Are you truly choosing? Or are you running after goals someone else told you matter? I once met a student in California who always felt small because his family didn't have much. Years later, at a reunion, he learned the rich classmate he once admired had always wished he had his life. A warm, loving family. What we label as missing might be more than enough to someone else. That's why comparison is misleading. No one's living your exact reality. Take a look around, your space, your job, your relationships. Is something weighing you down, making you feel like you don't measure up? If so, stop and ask yourself, is this truly meaningful to me? Or did I absorb that idea from somewhere else? That single question has the power to redefine what happiness means to you. Try this whenever jealousy, frustration, or insecurity shows up. Write down, is this important to me? Or just something I think I should care about? Be honest. It's not about being right. It's about being real. When you truly see that value comes from within, the world stops controlling you. You start shaping the world instead. You stop being shaken by cold stares, job titles, or disappointments. A calm settles in because you've stopped worshiping things you never truly cared for. But remember, your mind doesn't just assign value. Left unchecked, it can also imagines threats everywhere. A harmless remark becomes a jab. A distant stare feels like rejection. These are signs of a fragile mind, a pattern many carry unknowingly. That's the next truth we have to face. Number 4, a weak mind sees enemies everywhere. Some people enter a room and instantly feel exposed. A brief glance, a half-spoken sentence. Suddenly, the whole world seems hostile. They navigate life with a shield up, always expecting the worst. But ask yourself, is the threat real, or is the mind projecting fear? An untrained mind sees danger in every silence, every word. A joke becomes a jab. Genuine advice turns into shame. A weak mind doesn't find enemies. It creates them from its own fear. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If someone can show me I'm wrong, I'll gladly change. I seek truth." That's more than humility. That's inner strength. He didn't see criticism as an attack. He saw it as an opening, an opportunity. But how do we get there when our instinct is to defend? One method is simple but powerful. Ask better questions. Instead of, "Are they attacking me?" ask, "What insight can I gain?" Your questions shape your mindset. Think of Abraham Lincoln. Early in office, he faced brutal insults, especially from Edwin Stanton, who mocked him as a fool and even called him a gorilla. Yet, Lincoln held no grudge. He made Stanton Secretary of War. Over time, Stanton became one of Lincoln's most loyal allies. Lincoln didn't focus on offense. He saw potential. He didn't let pride blur his judgment. He let wisdom lead. That's strength. What about you? Ever felt bad about a message with no emoji? Or a short reply that seemed cold? Ask yourself, are you viewing others through the cracks of old wounds or through a calm, steady lens? Scripture says, "He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty." You can be brilliant, driven, confident, but if a single comment can ruin your day, then you're still not in control. Growth begins when you see that your first reaction isn't always the right one. That space between emotion and action, that's where your real power lives. So when offense rises, pause, breathe. Don't respond just yet. Reflect. Then choose your response, not from a place of pain, but from a place of power. Pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, am I interpreting this negatively because my mind isn't strong enough yet? That pause, that moment of stillness, is where you regain control. Your mind can be a fortress, strong and impenetrable, or it can be a house with no doors, where every stray comment can slip in and wreak havoc. No one can get in unless you invite them. But remember, this doesn't mean tolerating everything. It means choosing to respond with reason, not reflex. It's only then that you're truly free. And if your mind can be enslaved by imagined threats, it can also become your strongest ally, sheltering you from the chaos of life's storms. Number 5, your mind can be a shelter or a prison. There are days when you just want to disappear. Not because something bad happened, but because your mind tells you that it's all too much. It convinces you that you're not good enough, that people are talking behind your back, that failure is inevitable. You haven't even taken action yet, but your mind has already sentenced you to defeat. Ever felt that way? Your mind can either be a peaceful refuge in the storm, or it can trap you in a dark, isolated prison, one you build from the inside, not because life is too overwhelming, but because you allowed your negative thoughts to grow unchecked. Some people aren't trapped by their circumstances, they're trapped by their own inner dialogue. It's like being in a room with the door wide open, yet you feel locked in. The question is, which room are you living in? Think of your mind like a kitchen. If you let trash pile up, food rot, and grease stain the surfaces, no matter how fresh the ingredients, your meals will always taste terrible. The same goes for your thoughts. If you keep telling yourself, "I'm not good enough," "I'll fail anyway," then even when opportunities arise, you won't have the courage to take them. You're not reacting to reality. You're reacting to a distorted version of it, a version your mind has created. Negative thoughts are like echoes in a cave. The quieter you are, the louder they seem. The more you believe them, the more they feel like truth. You send a message and no one responds. Your mind whispers, "They're avoiding me." You post something and get no likes. Your mind says, "I'm boring." You hear your boss sigh. Your mind warns, "I'm about to get fired." These things happen every day, harmless on their own, until your mind distorts them into something far worse. Sometimes all it takes is asking a different question to shift how you feel. Instead of asking, "Why am I such a failure?" try asking, "What can I learn from this?" Someone who faces rejection in an interview could tell themselves, "They didn't think I was good enough." Or they could think, "That was a great practice round." Beliefs shape your perspective, and your perspective shapes your life. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb, but he didn't call them failures. He called them 1,000 ways that didn't work. In the same way, you don't need to change the world. You just need to change how you label what happens to you. Try this simple trick. Whenever your mind starts telling a gloomy story, interrupt it. Stand up. Splash water on your face. Take a walk. Call a friend. Write down what you're thinking. Not to erase it, but to see it clearly. When you put it on paper, you take back the director's chair. You're no longer the lead actor in a play run by fear. Your mind doesn't store the truth. It filters it. If you don't choose what goes through, it will mix trash and treasure into the same bin. Over time, you won't know if your pain is from reality or from what you've imagined. We're halfway through this journey. If you've made it this far, it means you're truly committed to yourself. Every part of this video is crafted to help you build a solid mindset. Each piece matters in shaping the bigger picture. So stick with it till the end. And if this part resonates with you, hit the like button. Not just to support the video, but as a way to tell yourself, "I'm starting to change." Number 6. An untrained mind is ruled by emotion. Do you let your emotions drive you every day without even realizing it? A careless comment from your boss ruins your whole evening. One ignored post and you feel invisible. A simple rejection suddenly means you're not good enough. But the truth is, no one actually hurt you. It's your untrained mind blowing things out of proportion, creating stories that don't exist. Stoicism doesn't tell you to be emotionless. It simply asks one honest question. Do you really want your emotions behind the wheel of your life? Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And self-mastery starts with mastering your mind. The problem is, we were never taught how to control our emotions, only how to suppress or explode them. So, when we feel hurt, angered, or frustrated, we don't know how to process it constructively. Instead, our emotions take over, steering us down paths we never consciously chose. When we're feeling down, we reach for our phones. When we're anxious, we look for comfort in food. When we're upset, we search for someone or something to blame. What's unsettling is that most of us accept this as normal. But take a moment to observe someone making coffee in the morning. They're not rushing. They measure the water, wait for it to drip, inhale the aroma, and savor every sip. That's a lesson in self-control, not about slowing down, but about being intentional. You can apply this to all aspects of life. The way you respond to a difficult email, how you handle a disagreement. These are moments where you can practice control. Try this. Pause for 3 seconds before reacting. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, is this reaction necessary? Those 3 seconds might just save you from a bigger mistake. Someone once asked, if logic is so powerful, why do emotions often win? The answer isn't that emotions are stronger, it's that our reasoning hasn't been developed. You wouldn't expect to lift heavy weights without training. Similarly, you can't stay calm in chaos if your mind hasn't been disciplined. So train your mind daily, not just in the gym, but in real life. When you face criticism, when you're left waiting, when jealousy arises, or when you're cut down by others, that's when you need reason the most. Take the example of Marie Curie. When her husband passed away in an accident, she didn't fall apart. She didn't let grief overwhelm her. Instead, she continued their scientific work, becoming the first person to win 2 Nobel Prizes in different fields. She didn't suppress her emotions, not because she was heartless, but because her mind was strong enough to carry on. Now, think about it. If you lost an opportunity today, could you carry on with grace? Try this. The next time you're upset, don't react immediately. Write down the thoughts racing through your mind, not to vent, but to see things clearly. What's true, what's exaggerated. Once you analyze your thoughts, things will feel much clearer. If you don't control your thoughts, someone else will. The person who angers you, who causes you pain, or who makes you spend impulsively. What's more dangerous than living a life controlled by things you can't change? When you realize that emotions are meant to be managed, not just felt, you unlock a new level of freedom, where reason guides you, not as an enemy, but as the foundation for true freedom. Number 7, you become what you think about. There's a powerful truth that many overlook. If you tell yourself you're a failure enough, you'll eventually start acting like one, even when opportunities for success are right in front of you. No one has to hold you back. You've already trapped yourself in a mental cage. The ironic thing is, it doesn't start with a life event. It starts with a thought. Picture an average office worker. Every morning, the first thought that runs through his mind is, another boring day ahead. He hasn't brushed his teeth, hasn't stepped outside, hasn't spoken to anyone. Yet, in his mind, he's already lost the day. At work, even a small error in an email leads him to think, I never get things right. This thought makes him hold back during meetings, pass up opportunities, and before he knows it, the day turns out exactly as he feared. Not because it had to be, but because he lived out the very beliefs he had about himself. Thoughts aren't just fleeting things that pass by. They're like seeds. What you plant in your mind, you'll eventually grow. If you keep telling yourself, people always underestimate me, over time, you'll start to shrink. You'll hesitate more, play it safe, and oddly enough, people will start treating you as if you're smaller, because that's the energy you're giving off. It's not their fault, it's yours. I once knew a guy who fixed motorbikes for a living. He used to say, I was a terrible student, there's no future for me. But he loved taking machines apart and had a natural talent for it. Despite this, for years he stuck to small repairs, convinced he wasn't smart enough to open his own shop. Then one day, work dried up, and he had no choice but to take the leap. Less than a year later, customers were lining up. When I asked what changed, he simply said, the only difference is, I stopped thinking I was stupid. It was that simple. Your mind acts like a loudspeaker, amplifying your thoughts. One negative thought can echo much louder and longer than the rest. But the reverse is also true for positive thoughts. Instead of forcing yourself to be positive, start by questioning the voice in your head. For example, when you think, I'm bad at this, ask yourself, is that really true? And is there any proof against it? If you find some, write it down. You don't have to believe the new thought right away, but just challenging the old one is already a step forward. Another way to identify toxic thoughts is by paying attention to your daily emotions. If you often feel drained, insecure, or unmotivated, chances are your thoughts are feeding negative beliefs. Emotions are the echoes of thought. If you want to change how you feel, start by changing how you think. And no one expressed this better than Jesus, who said, For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. What fills your mind will spill over into your words, actions, and ultimately, your life. You don't need to change the whole world to change your life. Start by changing one sentence in your head. Today, instead of thinking, "I can't," try asking, "How can I?" The right question won't solve everything, but it will get you moving forward again. And when you notice you're no longer trapped in old beliefs, when you're no longer held back by limiting thoughts, that's when you'll know that the new seed has begun to grow. You don't need saving anymore. You've already started transforming your life, and it all began with a single thought. Number 8. The simpler the mind, the less the suffering. Have you ever found yourself scrolling through Facebook, reading someone's random post, and spending the rest of the afternoon wondering, was that about me? Or after a meeting, you replay every word your boss said, questioning whether you sounded foolish. None of that actually happened in the real world. It all unfolded in your mind. And that's what drains you. It's not life itself, but how your mind processes it. The simpler the mind, the less it suffers. But simplicity doesn't mean being careless or indifferent, nor does it mean living on autopilot. It's about clarity, understanding what's worth your mental energy and what you can simply let go of. Think about it like a phone full of useless apps. It lags, overheats, and you can't even find what you need. Do you just keep complaining about how slow it is, or do you start deleting those unnecessary apps? We've been taught to think deeply, think broadly, and think big. But no one teaches us how to think less and still be sharp. Stoics treat simplifying their thoughts as a key survival skill. Imagine waking up late, it's raining, and you're out of coffee. One person sighs, "This day is ruined." Another simply says, "10 minutes late won't hurt." It's raining, I'll grab an umbrella. No coffee, I'll drink water. Same situation, but a completely different mindset. Charlie Munger, the legendary investor and right-hand man to Warren Buffett, is known not just for his wealth, but for the radical simplicity of his thinking. One of his most famous lines is, "Take a simple idea and take it seriously." This applies to life too. Instead of overcomplicating success, he focused on avoiding failure. Don't go into debt, don't be greedy, don't invest in things you don't understand. It sounds simple, even trivial, but it's shockingly effective. So, here's the real question. Are you trying to appear complex, or are you learning to live simply so you can breathe easier? We waste so much mental energy on things that don't matter. Other people's opinions, the past, what ifs. That's how your mind ends up working against you. Before reacting to anything, ask yourself one simple question. Will this matter in 5 days? If the answer is no, don't waste 5 minutes stressing over it. A friend of mine lost his job during the pandemic. At first, he panicked, convinced he was a failure. But after a few days, he snapped out of it and started simplifying his life, cutting unnecessary spending, picking up side gigs, reading more. 6 months later, he told me, "My mind has never felt this light." You can't control the world, but you can control how your mind reacts to it, much like a traffic light. You can't change it to green, but you can choose whether to wait patiently or become frustrated. That is the truest form of freedom, and no one can take that away from you. If you're ready to live with a mind that is lighter, sharper, not by thinking more, but by thinking better, leave a comment. Simplifying the mind is where the journey begins. A clear mind sees good, even in misfortune. Number 9. A clear mind sees good even in misfortune. I remember sitting in a cafe once when I noticed a middle-aged man sitting at the table next to mine, staring at his phone and sighing deeply. He had just been let go after 12 years at the same company. An hour later, a young college student sitting across from us found out that he hadn't passed his internship interview. Both of them were clearly disappointed, but only one of them walked out with a quiet smile. And it wasn't the young student. The man stood up, packed his things, and said to himself, "Well, at least now I have no excuse not to open that banh mi shop." The student, on the other hand, muttered, "Maybe I'm just not good enough." Two people facing the same type of loss, but with very different responses. Why? Because one saw failure as raw material for something better, while the other saw it as a final defeat. Stoicism doesn't teach you to ignore pain. It teaches you to look through it, much like a farmer who knows that after heavy rain, the soil becomes softer and is the best time to plant. Your mind is a storyteller. It doesn't record reality as it is. It rewrites it through its own lens. The question is, are you letting your mind write a tragedy, or are you allowing it to write a comeback story? Everyone's missed a bus, had their heart broken, or faced financial struggles. But do you think, I'm a failure? Or do you think, this is just the first chapter of something I don't fully understand yet? Seneca once wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Struggles are like weights at the gym. You don't have to enjoy them, but skip them, and you'll never grow stronger." So ask yourself, are you avoiding the struggle, or are you lifting the wrong way? People who find meaning in setbacks aren't just blindly optimistic. They have one simple habit. They ask different questions. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they ask, "What can I learn from this?" Or, "What truth would I have missed if this didn't happen?" The founder of Airbnb was rejected by investors 7 times before he built a billion-dollar startup.